In the wake of a fatal shooting in Thermopolis, lawmakers are cautious about considering changes to stand your ground laws. A vigil was held at the Capitol in Cheyenne in honor of those who've lost their lives in the fighting in Israel. And one of Grand Teton's famous bears was injured in a hit and run. Bringing you these stories and more from Wyoming's largest news organization, I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily. In the wake of a Thermopolis police officer illegally breaking into a suspect's home and triggering a fatal shootout, Wyoming lawmakers say caution is needed when considering changing state laws. The incident has exposed a contradiction in Wyoming self-defense laws. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland explains that the Castle Doctrine says a resident can shoot someone who breaks into their home, but the caveat is that Sergeant Mike Mascoro was acting within his duties as a police officer, and even though his entry into Buck Laramore's house was illegal, the Stand Your Ground law applies, which justified the police officer's shooting.
Lawmakers who spoke to Cowboy State Daily are saying, we can't leave it necessarily to suspects with guns to make a snap judgment on whether police officers are acting lawfully and they can shoot them.
McFarland said that lawmakers she spoke to noted that the case is a reminder that police work in a very complicated legal environment. Wyoming residents and recent transplants from Israel held a peaceful vigil at the Wyoming Capitol on Monday, praying for family and friends threatened by a fast-escalating war with Hamas. Cowboy State Daily's Leo Wolfson attended the vigil and spoke to two Cheyenne residents who still have family there. Cheyenne resident Matani Ravenna has lost nearly a dozen of his friends and acquaintances who've already been killed fighting in the war, and Noam Mantaka's son is a reserve member of the Israel Defense Forces and has been called into active combat because of the recent attack.
This is just an issue that pulls at the heartstrings of a lot of people in Wyoming. Even a reverend of a different religious denomination, a Unitarian church, spoke at the event. And there was about 50 people in attendance for the event that was organized in literally about 4 or 5 hours. So it was a pretty respectable turnout.
Ravenna told Cowboy State Daily he was heartened by the turnout. China has long had a stranglehold on the world's supply of rare earths, which are used in a wide array of technological gadgets ranging from cell phones to electric vehicle car batteries. But Cowboy State Daily's Renee Jean reports that Wyoming may soon be in a position to loosen that stranglehold thanks to a company that's investing in a $44 million Wyoming rare earths project. Rare Element Resources held an open house Monday to celebrate progress toward building a demonstration-scale plant in Upton.
If they are successful, that could be game-changing, not just for Wyoming, but the United States. It could kickstart a rare earth element sector, which we have not had.
Jean says if the process proves out at Bear Lodge, it could be generally applicable to other rare earth mining efforts in Wyoming and the United States. I'll be back with more news right after this.
At Hilltop Bank, we understand that buying a home is a big decision. That's why we're here to be your trusted partner on the path to home ownership. Our experienced mortgage team will guide you every step of the way, from pre-approval to closing. We offer competitive rates and a wide variety of home loan options to best suit your needs. With our local knowledge and personalized service, you'll feel confident and comfortable throughout the entire home buying process. Contact us today to start your journey toward home ownership. Hilltop Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Well, although Penn State University president called Riley Gaines a bigot and that university canceled her Tuesday event, the women's rights activist is still expected at the University of Wyoming on October 24th. A former college swimmer and now activist for women's rights, Gaines' mission and message center around keeping males out of women's sports and spaces. Gaines has stated publicly that she keeps in touch with the UW sorority members who sued their sorority headquarters over the induction of a transgender member. UW spokesman Chad Baldwin has told Cowboy State Daily that campus police generally tighten up security for guest speakers and intend to do the same for Gaines. And Wyoming's beloved Grizzly 610, a grown offspring of the famous Grizzly 399, was struck by a vehicle Monday afternoon. Outdoors reporter Mark Hines said the famous bear laid by a highway in pain for hours after apparently being struck by a hit-and-run driver.
A photographer as well as a representative of the Park Service told me that stretch of US 89 that goes through Teton Park is just bad. It's windy, it's narrow, visibility's poor, and people kind of have a propensity to lead-foot it through there. The photographer said, judging by the skid marks he saw at the scene, it was probably a semi that hit her.
Although 610 languished by the roadside for several hours, she was spotted up and walking around with her cubs early Tuesday. So far, officials have no solid leads on who struck the bear. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting the subscribe button on CowboyStateDaily.com. I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily.